world without Google, more than 8.5 billion searches are made every day. But did you know that this company started from a small garage? How did two university students build one of the most powerful technology empires in the world? Today, you will know the entire history of Google. Introduction. In today's world, it is difficult to find a person who has not used Google at least once to find out any information, or find the address of a place, or get an answer to a simple question. The first thing that comes to our mind is the name of Google. But Google is not just a search engine. It is one of the largest technology companies in the world, whose services include YouTube, Gmail, Google Maps, Android, Chrome, and various artificial intelligence-based technologies. Billions of people around the world use Google's various services every day. Behind this extraordinary organization are two young researchers, Larry Page and Sergey Brin. Their small initiative, which started as a research project while studying at Stanford University, one day changed the world's technology sector. In today's video, you will learn how these two students built one of the world's most successful technology empires from scratch. Google. Larry Page's childhood. Larry Page was born on March 26, 1973, in Lansing, Michigan, USA. He grew up in a family where technology was a part of everyday life. His father, Carl Victor Page, was a professor of computer science, and his mother, Gloria Page, was a computer programming teacher. As a result, Larry was surrounded by computers, technology books, and new innovations from an early age. He started using computers at the age of just a few years and developed a deep interest in knowing how different devices work. He showed extraordinary skills in science and mathematics during his school life. Later, he studied computer engineering at the University of Michigan. It was there that he began to dream of doing something big, a dream that would one day become the basis for founding the world's most influential technology company, Google. Sergey Brin's childhood. Sergey Brin was born on August 21, 1973, in Moscow, then the Soviet Union, which is now the capital of Russia. He was very talented from a young age and had a great interest in mathematics. However, at that time, educational and professional opportunities for Jewish families in the Soviet Union were limited. So, at the age of 6, his family immigrated to the United States in the hope of a better future. Upon arriving in a new country, Sergey quickly proved his talent in studies. He acquired extraordinary skills in mathematics, logic, and computer science. Later, he completed his higher education in computer science and mathematics from the University of Maryland, USA. This strong mathematical thinking and deep interest in technology later led him to Stanford University, where he met Larry Page, and from there, the journey of Google began. Larry Page and Sergey Brin first met at Stanford. Larry Page and Sergey Brin met for the first time at Stanford University, USA, in 1995. Both were doing PhDs in computer science, but their relationship was not easy at all at first. They often got into arguments and disagreements on various technical issues and did not agree with each other's opinions. However, over time, they realized that although their thinking was different, the goal was the same: to make the internet more efficient and intelligent. From that realization, they started researching together. The main topic of their research was how to find the billions of information on the web more quickly and accurately. This research later gave birth to the PageRank algorithm, which later became the basis of Google and changed the concept of global information search. Google's birth. Google, from Backrub. Larry Page and Sergey Brin created a search engine called Backrub while researching at Stanford University. Most search engines at the time only showed results by looking at how many times a word appeared on a web page. But Backrub worked completely differently. They created the PageRank algorithm, which analyzed how many quality links a website had and their importance to present the most reliable results to the user. This is why Backrub was later known as Google and quickly gained popularity. The largest search engine at the time, Yahoo, relied mainly on human-created directories, so it took a long time to find information, and the results were not always accurate. On the other hand, Google was faster, simpler, and much more accurate, and this made it everyone's first choice in a short time. Garage Startup, Google's first office. In 1998, Larry Page and Sergey Brin were looking for a small space for their new company. At that time, Susan Wojcicki rented out the garage of her house in Menlo Park, California, and from there, Google's journey officially began. That small garage was Google's first office, where work was carried out day and night between a few computers, makeshift desks, and countless cables. The company's first employee was Craig Silverstein, who was a classmate of Larry and Sergey at Stanford University. At first, they didn't even have enough money to buy a server, so they built their first server by assembling ordinary computer parts. A company was born in that ordinary garage, which within a few years became one of the most influential technology companies in the world. First investment and the founding of Google Inc. The most important moment in Google's journey came in 1998, when the famous technology entrepreneur Andy Bechtolsheim was very impressed by their demo. After watching just a few minutes of the presentation, he realized that this search engine could one day change the world of technology. Without any long discussion, he wrote a check for $100,000 in the name of Google Inc. But there was a big problem at that time. No company named Google Incorporated had yet to be officially established, so Larry Page and Sergey Brin quickly completed the legal process and founded Google Inc. registered, and then deposited the check in the bank. With this initial investment, they bought servers, hired employees, and began the journey of transforming Google from a research project into a full-fledged technology company. Why couldn't Yahoo buy Google? Between 1998 and 2002, when Google began to gain popularity rapidly, the then internet giant Yahoo expressed interest in buying the company. According to various sources, Yahoo initially made an offer worth about $1 billion. But Larry Page and Sergey Brin believed that Google's future potential was much greater. They felt that their goal of making the world's information accessible and organized for everyone had not yet been achieved. So they rejected Yahoo's offer and decided to independently move Google forward. That decision turned the tide of history. In the following years, Google became one of the most powerful technology companies in the world, and Yahoo gradually began to lose its influence. Today, it is considered one of the most important and discussed decisions in the history of business. Google's explosive success. Google did not stop at being just a search engine. In a short time, it became one of the largest technology companies in the world. In 2004, Gmail was launched, which gained popularity with its large storage and fast email service. Then came Google Maps, which changed the way people travel and navigate. In 2005, Google acquired Android, which is currently the world's most widely used mobile operating system. In 2006, Google Chrome was launched, which became the world's most popular web browser due to its fast speed and security. In the same year, Google acquired YouTube for about $1.65 billion, which later became the world's largest video platform. These strategic decisions led Google not only to being a search company, but also to being one of the strongest leaders in the global technology industry. Alphabet Inc., Google's new chapter. In 2015, Google made a major organizational change and established a new parent company called Alphabet Inc. The purpose of this was to separate Google's core businesses, such as search, YouTube, Android, and advertising. and to manage artificial intelligence, self-driving cars, health technology, and other ambitious projects through separate organizations. As a result of this change, Google began to be managed more efficiently. At the same time, Sundar Pichai was appointed as Google's Chief Executive Officer (CEO). Under his leadership, Google made rapid progress in cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and new technologies. On the other hand, Larry Page became the CEO of Alphabet, and Sergey Brin became the president, where they continued to work on the company's long-term innovative projects and future strategies. Where is Google today? Today, Google is not just a search engine, but one of the most powerful technology companies in the world. In the era of artificial intelligence, Google created Gemini, which is creating new possibilities in data analysis, writing, programming, and research through advanced AI technology. At the same time, Google Cloud provides cloud computing, data storage, and AI services to thousands of companies around the world. To change the transportation system of the future, Alphabet's Waymo is working on self-driving car technology, which is already being operated commercially in several cities. Google is also investing in complex technologies such as quantum computing, where research is underway, with the aim of solving problems many times faster than conventional computers. Starting from a small research project by a few students, Google is today one of the main drivers of technological innovation in the world. What does Google's journey teach us? The story of Google teaches us that achieving great success does not require huge money or a large office from the beginning. Larry Page and Sergey Brin started the journey of a company that is now part of the lives of billions of people around the world. From a university research project and a small garage, the key to their success was a different way of thinking, effective problem-solving, and a never-give-up mentality. They did not just build a company, but also changed the way people find information. This story reminds us that big dreams can start small, with courage, creativity, and hard work. So, no matter where you start, the right ideas, patience, and perseverance can one day change not only your life, but the entire world. Of Oman and the Arabian Sea. It serves as a vital shipping route for crude oil, liquefied natural gas, LNG, and other energy products exported from major producers in the Middle East to markets around the world. Because so much of the world's energy trade passes through this narrow channel, any military tension, security incident, or disruption in the area can quickly affect global markets. If shipping traffic slows, or companies decide to reroute vessels due to safety concerns, transportation costs and insurance premiums can increase. These additional costs may eventually contribute to higher prices for fuel and many consumer goods. Even when the waterway remains open, uncertainty alone can influence financial markets. Traders often react to the possibility of supply disruptions, causing oil prices to fluctuate before any actual shortage occurs. For this reason, governments, energy companies, and investors closely monitor developments in the Strait of Hormuz. Its security is considered essential for maintaining stable global energy supplies, supporting international trade, and helping reduce economic uncertainty around the world. Global economy. The global economy is deeply interconnected, which means that a major conflict in one region can have consequences for countries around the world. If tensions in the Middle East disrupt energy supplies or increase uncertainty, businesses and financial markets often respond quickly. Rising oil prices can make transportation, manufacturing, and electricity more expensive, increasing production costs for companies across many industries. As businesses face higher costs, many pass those expenses on to consumers through higher prices for everyday goods and services. This can contribute to inflation, reducing people's purchasing power and making it more expensive to live. In response, Central banks may consider adjusting interest rates to help control inflation, but higher borrowing costs can also slow economic growth and reduce investment. Global trade may also be affected if shipping routes become less efficient or transportation costs rise. Delays in supply chains can impact industries ranging from electronics and automobiles to food and retail. Investors may react with caution, leading to increased volatility in stock markets and currency values. These economic effects show how geopolitical events can influence not only governments and businesses, but also the daily lives of millions of people around the world. Winners and losers. Every major geopolitical conflict creates economic winners and losers, even though the overall impact is often negative for global stability. If oil prices rise because of supply concerns, oil exporting countries and some energy companies may benefit from increased revenues. Businesses involved in oil exploration, production, and transportation can also see higher profits when energy prices remain elevated. In some cases, defense companies may experience increased demand as governments strengthen their military capabilities and invest more in national security. On the other hand, many industries face significant challenges. Airlines, shipping companies, and manufacturers often struggle with higher fuel and transportation costs, reducing profit margins. Businesses that depend on imported raw materials may also face rising expenses and supply chain delays. Consumers are among the biggest losers, as higher energy costs can lead to more expensive food, transportation, and everyday household goods. Developing countries that rely heavily on imported oil are particularly vulnerable because higher energy prices can increase inflation and place additional pressure on government budgets. Ultimately, while few sectors may benefit financially, prolonged geopolitical conflict generally creates greater uncertainty, slows economic growth, and affects millions of people across the world. Could oil reach $100? One of the biggest questions investors, governments, and consumers are asking is whether oil prices could rise to $100 per barrel. The answer depends on how the current geopolitical situation develops. If tensions escalate and significantly disrupt oil production or shipping routes, global oil supplies could tighten. In response, energy markets may push prices higher as traders anticipate potential shortages. However, reaching $100 is not guaranteed. Oil prices are influenced by many factors, including global demand, production levels from major oil exporting countries, strategic petroleum reserves, and diplomatic efforts to reduce tensions. If additional supplies enter the market or the conflict eases through negotiations, prices could stabilize or even decline. Financial markets often react not only to actual events but also to expectations. Even rumors of supply disruptions can cause short-term price swings. That is why oil prices can be highly volatile during periods of geopolitical uncertainty. Ultimately, whether oil reaches $100 per barrel will depend on the balance between supply, demand, and the outcome of international developments. As the situation continues to evolve, governments, businesses, and consumers around the world will be watching closely. Conclusion: the conflict involving Iran is more than just a regional security issue. It has the potential to influence the global economy in many ways. From oil prices and shipping routes to inflation and financial markets, the effects of rising geopolitical tensions can extend far beyond the Middle East. Even if major supply disruptions do not occur, uncertainty alone can affect investor confidence, business decisions, and consumer spending around the world. History has shown that events in key energy-producing regions can reshape global markets within days. Governments, businesses, and international organizations are closely monitoring the situation, while also working to reduce risks through diplomacy and economic cooperation. The outcome of this conflict will depend on many factors, including political decisions, military developments, and international efforts to prevent further escalation. As the situation continues to evolve, it is important to rely on verified information rather than rumors or misinformation. Staying informed through credible sources helps us better understand the challenges facing the global economy. Whether oil prices rise sharply or markets remain stable, the decisions made in the coming weeks and months could have lasting consequences for countries, businesses, and millions of people worldwide.